Welcome back, everybody, to the Quiet Light Podcast. I'm very happy to have you here. I'm excited to have Mark Thompson on the podcast today. Mark Thompson's from PayKickstart. We're going to be talking about subscription-based businesses, course creation, customer retention, just kind of a wide variety of topics. I met Mark a few weeks ago. We were introduced by a mutual contact, and we just had a wonderful conversation. And I thought, let's record the next version of this conversation because it's just a very interesting type of conversation and a very interesting individual. Before we jump into this, just a reminder that this podcast is brought to you by Quiet Light Brokerage. We help sell digital assets, both in the SaaS world, content world, course world, obviously e-commerce and FBA as well. So if you are in this world and are looking for a free valuation, reach out to us. We're happy to provide a free valuation, let you know how much your business is worth today and how much it might be worth in the future, and help you develop that exit plan. With that, Mark, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to let go of the fact that you're a Buffalo Bills fan and you took away my favorite receiver from the Minnesota Vikings, and we're just going to have a regular good conversation today. Got to start out with that. PayKickstart. What is it? How did you get into this? And how long have you been doing this?
Yeah. So, PayKickstart is a subscription billing and affiliate management solution. And so we built it about 6 years ago, actually about 7 years ago, and it started off as an internal tool. So, I've been an online entrepreneur for over a decade now. And so I've sold software, I've sold information, products and programs, that kind of stuff. And, I found that every billing solution that I used was so archaic. And it had a terrible checkout experience. It wasn't able to manage our affiliate partners, which that was one of the main growth levers that we used to build our business early on, was using affiliate partners. And so I just found that every platform out there was just missed the mark. And so, being a software company and running, having developers and designers and QA people on staff, we're like, well, let's build this thing ourselves. And so it started off kind of really small, just as a very basic shopping cart. And, so we started to get people noticing like, oh, that's a really cool checkout page, or how did you do this one-click upsell, or how did you add this order bump to your checkout page? And so people were asking questions about it and they really liked it. And so we're like, well, why not allow other people to use this platform? And so we kind of, took a step back and we decided to make it really our core business. So it didn't happen overnight. It started off as an internal tool. And over the past 5 or 6 years, we've just continuously added to it, added more features, listened to our customer base, and been able to grow it over $1 million in ARR just over the last 4 or 5 years. So
that's awesome, and it really is a bit of a Swiss Army knife when it comes to tools to manage a digital business. Yeah. I find so many times that businesses are started like yours, right? Where somebody they had a need, they couldn't find a good solution out there, so they decided to build it themselves, and then that grows into something bigger than that. At what point, though? There has to be a point where you take a step back and say, okay, I built this thing for me. I built this for us, for my company, and people want to use this, and obviously they don't have the same use case. So right. How do you go about that process of saying, okay, I've already built this to custom fit what we're doing, but we got to take like maybe 10 steps back to make sure this isn't so tightly coupled to our needs that other people can make it flexible. What was that process like, and how did you guys go about maybe disassembling some of your specific use cases versus the world? Yeah,
that was one of the biggest mistakes I think we made early on was, when people started to use it, they're like, oh, it would be cool if it had this feature and that feature, and it became so overwhelming. And we're like, oh my God, how do we cater to all these different companies? And so, that I think that was what we tried to do early on. We tried to build feature after feature after feature, and we kind of lost our way early on. And so we kind of had to take that step back and figure out, who do we really want to go after? Who's our target audience? And so, we kind of decided that, our core group of people who really get the most value out of our product are subscription-based businesses, doing at least, $10K a month in MRR, up to, a couple, we have people doing millions, 10 million, 20 million and beyond. And so that's really who we wanted to go after. And so it's like, what do they need to be successful? And so if you're a subscription-based business, they obviously customer churn or retention is really important. And so we're like, okay, well, let's build out some features that are related to that, and just really give our customers what they need to not only manage subscriptions, manage affiliate partners, but then also be able to retain those customers. And so that's what, based off of our feedback from our customers, and really analyzing the data to see who's staying with us the most, who's actually using our product the most, we were able to kind of find that segment. And I think that's really what's helped us with our growth over the last year and a half or 2 years, was we were able to kind of niche down and focus, which in the first couple of years we're just trying to like find our way.
Yeah, I want to dig into some of these things. I really want to focus on the customer retention. I want to focus on the checkout experience a little bit, and then maybe the growth through affiliates, because you grew the business with affiliates, which I think is fascinating. Not a lot of people choose that path these days. It's not as popular of an option. But let's start real quick with the customer retention, because for anyone who has a subscription-based business, and even for those who don't, maybe you're thinking about adding this in. I mean, customer retention is like, it might not be the only key, but it's a big portion of making a subscription-based business work. If you don't have customer retention, you're going to hit a wall, right? If you have a high churn, you're going to hit a wall where you can only get so many customers and you can't grow beyond that point, because it's just, you can't add customers faster than they're churning. What are some of the features that you built into PayKickstart to help people reduce churn? Why those features, and what has the effect been? Have you seen it be effective for people?
Yeah. So, I mean, well, let me start off by saying we learned the hard way. So before we even created PayKickstart, we were using a solution that didn't even have any form of a way to reach out to customers when a payment fails. And so I forgot what, I think it was like between 2014 and 2016, we were looking at just all the failed transactions or canceled subscriptions, and it was millions of dollars in lost revenue that we could have potentially saved just by having an automated system to reach out to customers and be like, hey, your credit card's about to expire, go and update your billing details. Or, hey, your credit card declined. Or, hey, your bank, the bank wire transfer declined, go and update your details. And so that was the first thing that we addressed was dunning, was churn, just from failed payments. And so, we learned the hard way that 30% of subscription rebills fail. And there's a number of different reasons why they fail, but if you don't have a system in place to be able to reach out to those customers and make it really seamless and easy for them to update their details, you're going to be losing customers. And these are people who want to keep paying you, but you don't have a way to allow them to do that. And so that was the first part, was just kind of involuntary churn, just taking care of that. The other part was voluntary churn, right? So people who, hey, I want to cancel, and a lot of business owners, they're really afraid to reach out to customers and find out why it is that they want to leave. They kind of just ignore them. And so we did that for a while. We're like, oh, they canceled, oh, the hell with them type of deal. But really, we've done a complete 180. And we've really tried to get into the mind of our customers, specifically the ones who are leaving. It's like, why are they leaving? Is it the product? Did they have a bad experience? Is it that they just couldn't figure out how to get to that aha moment with our product? So the onboarding, what exactly is it? And so we wanted to build an automated way to be able to capture feedback from them and really understand why it is that they're leaving. So not only we can try to get them to come back as a customer, but then also for future customers who are looking to cancel, we can try to tackle those issues. And so we created this retention or cancellation saver sequence where we ask them, why is it that you're leaving? Is it something with the product? Did you have a bad customer support experience? What was it? And then we can give them a customized rebuttal and say, well, hey, it was price. Well, how about a 10% off coupon for the next year? Will that help you? Or downgrading your plan? Or, hey, you said that you needed X feature. Well, why don't you contact us on live chat? Odds are, 9 times out of 10, we actually have the feature, or we have a way that you can accomplish what you want to accomplish. Let us go ahead and walk you through how to do that. So we're able to, in real time, reach out to these customers who are potentially ready to leave, save them, and then also learn from that experience and to help us to build a better product.
Yeah, one thing I think is it's a mindset shift in the world of a business owner and a world of a business as well, and that is being hungry for that feedback versus not wanting to hear it.
Right.
because it can be offensive sometimes initially, like especially for if you started something new and
Yeah.
somebody's like, your product sucks, like whoever. And people are cruel, right? I own a subscription based business as well, and I get a weekly cancellation report, and I go through, and frankly, I'm at the point now where it's almost humorous when I see how vitriolic some people can be with their responses. But you know what? There's some really good feedback in there. There is gold in there, because even though we user test all of our stuff, and we go through and we test anything that we roll out, there's no user testing like live user testing.
Right.
Those are the people that are actually using the product, and when they hit friction, it's hard to discover that outside of that real world environment. So you're right, being able to collect that makes a big difference. But somebody has to be willing to be like, yeah, no, I'm willing to do this, and then I don't know about you. I've gotten to a point of being hungry for it. Somebody can compliment what we're doing. I'm like, yeah, that's nice, but what do I need to fix? Like, right? Yeah. That's more of what I want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll even go as far. I mean, so we've automated a lot of the collection of this feedback, but I'll actually start reaching out to people on Facebook, and I'll get on the phone and talk to them now. And I'm like, listen, you're like, I have thick skin now. You're not going to offend me, but I want to just hear from you. And so, a lot of times they'll type it, right? But other times sometimes you need to be more proactive and actually get on a call with them and have them open up even more to really drill down into what it is. And sometimes it's not even under your control. Maybe it's just something going on in their personal life or something going on in their business, and they kind of just went and took it out on you. So it's important to be proactive. And I see so many businesses that are being more reactive, and it's a recipe for disaster if you're not being proactive with your customers.
Yeah, I had this other business I have it has an app. And somebody left this it was a scathing review on the app. And the thing is, he took the time to write out a long criticism of everything, but it was dripping with sarcasm and just brutal in every way. So I had two choices. One, I could have responded back and been like, yeah, you're a jerk, or, this isn't on base, because some of it was not on base. Some of it was wrong, but I ended up taking your approach, right? I ended up reaching out to him and said, look, I saw your review. First, ouch, it kind of hurt, but I really appreciate the fact that you sent that and you made some really good points. Could I ask you some questions about this? And I went through and I asked him a number of questions. He came back, he's like, look, I'm sorry, that was really harsh. I went back, and he ended up revising the review, increasing my rating slightly, not fully, and it didn't deserve it. But I also gained it, more importantly, and this was the key takeaway, I got really, really good feedback from him as to what we could do maybe to change the perception among our users. What impact have you seen with your customers? Do you measure that? Do you see how it's able to impact their churn and what impact it has?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so we do obviously like an NPS score, which is kind of a more broad snapshot of
Net Promoter Score, right?
Net Promoter Score. The other thing I forgot to mention was I actually do a ringless voicemail to everyone who cancels, and I ask them, and so I send them a voicemail. I don't know if anyone who doesn't know what ringless voicemail is. It's exactly that. The phone doesn't ring, but it sends them voicemail, and so they're going to get that. And I say, hey, it's Mark Thompson, co-founder of PayKickstart. I really want to understand why it is that you canceled. Love if you would just do a quick 10-minute exit call with me. Just go to paykickstart.com/exit. and schedule it. It'll go right to my personal calendar, and we'll jump on a quick call. So there's no better way to measure this stuff than hearing it straight from the horse's mouth. And so that's kind of the way that I've, run my business. I know it can obviously be a little bit harder at scale, but that's when you can start to hire, a customer success person and have them do that.
Yeah. So the NPS score, you have measured some of this.
We do. Yeah, we do it through NPS, and really just from hearing from them directly as well.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. And I think anyone that's out there that's doing this, digging into those cancellation reasons, you will find immediate lifts and low hanging fruit too, right? People will bring up things up that you're just like, that's super easy. Like we can do that, and that's actually a real problem. Or bugs that maybe you haven't seen other places, depending.
And obviously, we're looking at our churn as well, right? So I mean, if you have 30% churn and you're consistently bringing it down, you guys are on the right track. You're doing the right things, whether it's from a product standpoint, from a customer success standpoint. It's something that you should always be improving on. It's never something that's just going to go away, right? You're always going to have customer churn, but you should always be striving to decrease that as low as you can.
Well, and just from a standpoint of valuation, because I always think in terms of valuations, right? How much is a business worth? If you have a subscription-based business and it's got a relatively high churn, the multiple that you're going to get on that is significantly lower than something that maybe has a 2 to 3% churn, right? 2 to 3% churn, you can get a really high multiple on a business like that. But if your churn is 8, 10, 12%, now your multiple is really, really struggling. It's one of the most influential factors for subscription-based businesses. And so just in thinking in terms of the value of the asset of the business itself, controlling that churn, obviously it helps you grow. It's going to have really good positive impacts for your business overall. But the value on the business itself is really, really significant. I wanted to talk, keep moving along, because again, we talk about three things here, and I want to make sure we get to all three. The checkout page that you had people notice, what was one thing I'm just kind of itching at the back of my brain right now? You said there wasn't anything out there, right? There's a ton of stuff out there right now. Everybody has a solution out there. Mm-hmm. What was insufficient about what was out there? What did you do that worked for you, and also had enough people say, "Whoa, that was really cool"?
Yeah, so I kind of obsessed over the checkout experience for a good year and a half or so. I wanted to make it outstanding. And so I'll give you some really good examples. So, obviously most checkout pages, they only offer like credit card, or sometimes they'll offer PayPal. But I was like, but some people, like in different parts of the world, they like to do like ACH or SEPA wire transfers, right? Or Apple Pay or Google Pay. Like those are, obviously people are paying, they're more comfortable with paying through their phones, right? So I wanted to be able to offer more payment methods and make it super easy for them to be able to send me money, right? And then from the actual checkout experience, having things like one-click upsells. So, you have your main offer, they put in their billing details, they buy your products. Maybe you have some sort of an upsell or downsell or some sort of a cross-sell or something like that. There's nothing worse than having to go in there and enter your billing details again after you just gave it to them. So if they're going to, you present them with some sort of an upsell, how about just a one click where they just, say, yeah, add it to my order, and it automatically, they get billed for that product. I noticed that, there were some solutions out there that had one click functionality, but I remember like I used once, I'm not going to, single them out, but I remember I had to buy an extension for $600 just so I could offer one click upsells. And I was like, that's stupid. Like, why not just have it, inside of the cart? Another thing was like, how about when you're collecting, an address, right? So you need to ship someone a physical package. Doesn't it suck to have to like put in the address, the city, the state, the zip code? How about just do like an address autocomplete? So when they start typing in their address, it gives them the list of suggestions and it auto fills out the rest of the fields. Like how cool is that? Or like if you're on your mobile phone and you're going to put in your credit card information, how much it's terrible when you have to use it shows like the normal keypad when it should be showing the number keypad when it's just numbers, right? So all these little things, which are kind of like anal retentive, but it really adds up to a better customer experience, which at the end of the day is going to give you higher conversion rates.
Yeah, you're listing off things that I'm just going through my head of all the times I've been checking out, and I'm like, oh, come on, like really? I'm trying to give you money, people, right? Right. It reminds me. Have you ever read Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg?
I haven't.
So BJ Fogg is a professor, I believe, at Stanford, and someone's going to listen to this and say, "No, Mark, that's not the right place." That's fine. He's a professor, behavior modelist, right? And he has a very basic behavior model that he teaches, which is all behaviors are the product of motivation, ability, and some sort of prompt, right? And if you take a look at this and say, if you have high motivation and easy ability plus a prompt, the behavior is going to be done. What you're talking about here is that ability portion, and just keeping that as simple as possible. Mm-hmm. Let me play devil's advocate, though. I mean, usually people are pretty highly motivated when they want to buy something to actually buy it. Did you see a lot of abandons that caused you to do all this?
Absolutely. And I thought the same thing, right? Like, oh, they definitely want my product, but I'm telling you, if it is, it's just very interesting. It's like an emotional experience when you're going to buy something. And if you have a bad experience at checkout, really, even if they do buy from you and they had a bunch of hurdles, you're just setting a bad example, or you're starting off the relationship bad, right? If you give them an outstanding customer experience or checkout experience, you're setting the tone for the rest of it. And they're like, oh, that's just, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying because it's like I'm trying to give you money. Stop ticking me off.
Right,
Right.
exactly. Right.
I want to come if I like you, I might come back and I might buy from you again. But if I remember, oh man, that was really awful. Maybe I don't come back. Or I have actually abandoned. And now that I think about it, I have abandoned sequences because I've tried to do it on my phone. And like you said, the keypad thing, boy, it's such a simple switch from a programming standpoint to say if it's a mobile, throw the number pad up instead of the full keyboard. But so many places don't do it, or they'll do it with one field but not another. And I'm like,
Right.
really? Come on,
Yeah,
help me
absolutely.
out.
Yeah.
All right, I could complain all day. No one wants to hear me complain about this. Affiliate management. I'm fascinated by this. All right, so affiliate management. Amazon pioneered the affiliate program. They didn't pioneer, but they really were the ones that put it on the map significantly. This is years ago. I'm showing my age in the internet world here. Obviously, for a long time, it was a huge part of people's growth plans. The web hosting industry, which is where I come from, years ago, grew largely on the backs of affiliates. It can be a really, really powerful way to grow a business, but is not chosen too much anymore, especially with physical product businesses because commissions really aren't all that great oftentimes. Why did you choose this? And let's just start with that. Why did you choose building your business through affiliate management?
Yeah. So I mean, when I first got started, so I was selling digital products. So the margins were super high. If I was selling an information or like a program, right? All it took was, me recording some videos, throwing it into a membership area, and the rest was gravy, right? So it made sense when I could say, hey, affiliate, I'll give you 50% because, why not? Right. I mean, if I can make, $100 and give them, $100, it's so easy. It's a no brainer because it removes the risk on my part because I'm not having to pay for traffic. I'm not having to worry about trying to get a positive return on my investment. I can just say, hey, go ahead and make as many sales as you want. I'll give you 50%. And so that was one way that I was able to really build my email list early on because when I didn't have any clout. I didn't have an email list. I didn't have a ton of money to go and spend on Facebook ads and Google ads and all these different, paid traffic sources. And so I just built relationships with people who already had authority in their space and already had a way to drive traffic to my offers. And so sometimes you're going to get people who want to promote your product because they love your product and they're like big brand ambassadors for you. And they're going to just naturally talk about your product. But there's other people who do this for a living. It's how they make money. And so I like to kind of blend both of those, right? And compensate them accordingly. And so that's really what I did early on. And so like someone like Amazon, they can afford to only give, 3% for a sale because they're so big. They really don't need it. It's such a small fraction of the pie. But when you're just starting out and you're like, man, I don't want to go ahead and have to, pay 50 grand in ads to try to see if it works. I can just start building relationships with affiliates, mitigates the risk. And it just helped me to really build my foundation. And so as, fast forward 10 years, I don't have to go and pay, 50% commissions. I can go and pay someone, 20% or 30%. And it's still a slice of the pie, the traffic pie, but it's not as big as it used to be. So for any of you guys listening who are just starting out, or maybe you're just, maybe you are a seasoned business, you have a mature product, it doesn't hurt to create an affiliate program. It's so easy to do. Give them some, marketing materials to go out and promote your product and compensate them. And it doesn't have to be a huge, commission that you pay them, but just giving, something it can help get people to incentivize them to talk about you.
All right, so I'm once again, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I'm going to tell you all the reasons why somebody might not do an affiliate program, or more importantly, why they might get discouraged. Because I look at a lot of businesses and I see deprecated affiliate programs, right? So they had an affiliate program and say, okay, you have an affiliate program. What percentage of sales does this make up? Oh, we really haven't paid attention to that in years, right? And so I'm going to hone in on something you said, that when you started out, you started to build relationships with people. How do you go about that process in and of itself? Because my experience is that's fairly intense initially, right? A lot of contacts, and especially when you have no clout, a lot of no's, right? Because the influencers, they become influencers because people trust them, and they are very careful. The really good ones are careful about who they put their name to and who they attach their name to.
Yep.
How did you start out with that to build some of those relationships when you didn't have clout? And how much effort were you putting into that as well? Were you talking to 100 people? Did you just select 5 and you're just pretty good at networking? What was the secret sauce there?
Yeah, there's a couple things that I did. Well, for one, I was able to partner with someone who had more authority than I did. They're more established. So what was really nice is I was able to kind of attach myself to them and get introduced to a bunch of people. So that was one way that I was able to get into the door. The other thing is just good old fashioned networking, right? It's going to events, hanging out in Facebook groups, going to masterminds, and just meeting these people. And so obviously you have to kind of know where you are from an authority standpoint, right? It's going to be hard for someone that's relatively unknown to go and try to hang out with some of the top influencers in your space, but you can work your way up the ladder. And so I actually created a spreadsheet, and I had 3 different tiers. I had my tier 1 guys who were like the big dogs, and then I had the tier 2 and the tier 3. And I started with the tier 3 guys, the little guys who maybe are not that well known, but were easy to get a hold of, to talk to. And then I would always just be like, hey, do you know if anyone else would be interested in promoting this product, or someone else that I can talk to in the space? And so they would, give me referrals, and you just work your way up the ladder. And it never happened overnight, but it happened over the years. And so I think regardless of what industry you're in or where you are in your business career, you should always be networking and just talking to other people in your space. And so I just built it into my DNA, and it's just always been something that I do, and I don't spend as much time on it as I should, as I did, years back, but it should always be a part of it, or at least have someone who can manage those relationships. And so like you may want to even hire an affiliate manager at some point once you start to, manage hundreds or sometimes thousands of affiliates.
Yeah, on that point, so a couple of things that you said that I would just want to pull out, because I think it's so important for anyone even looking at this. One is to integrate an affiliate program or some sort of affiliate system into your regular everyday networking anyway, right? As business owners, we should be networking. We should be getting to know other people. You can just look around and see the most successful people in the online business world are well networked. Right. There are some unicorns out there that are just really good, maybe at certain types of advertising, and they can spin something up without getting to know anyone else. But the people that are really powerful in this space, they network, they have friends that are able to, call on favors, and also, exchange those favors and really just help out and add to the community.
Yep.
So integrating an affiliate program into that makes sense, just like you were able to stand on the shoulders of somebody else. And that's something that you use as a launching point. Second of all, you had a methodology, you had a spreadsheet, and you worked off that method, right? So there's a method besides just throwing this up and hoping that it goes well. So I'm going to throw in one of the complaints that I do hear from people is the concentration, right? Pareto's law, or the Pareto principle of 80-20, or even 90-10, where you have 10% of the affiliates doing 90% of the referrals. And then it becomes an issue of how do you retain that, or if that person decides to start promoting something else, or maybe they slow their cadence down of that. Did you see that with your business? Did you have that concentration of the high performers and a lot of other people that were registered but not doing anything?
Yeah, the 80-20 rule definitely applies for sure. But you never know, right? Like when you build a relationship, that while that person may be somewhat small right now, that you don't know what they're going to be like 3 to 5 years from now. And so that's why it's always good to have those relationships, because there's been plenty of times when I'll do, some sort of a business deal or like a JV partnership with someone, and they're, no one really knows who they are, right? Maybe they have a list of 500 people, but then I go and talk to them 3 years later and they have a list of 100,000 people. They have this massive following. And I'm like, man, I'm glad that I just kind of built that relationship early on. So you never know, but the 80-20 rule is definitely there. It's really important to take care of those 20% and always try to figure out other ways that you can kind of integrate your business in with those affiliates, because those affiliates usually are running their own businesses. So try to figure out a way to integrate more. So whether it's, like an API integration, whether it's, like a webinar that you're like a joint webinar that you do, there's live events or something like that. And the other thing I love about affiliates is finding affiliates in different spaces, right? That have similar audiences, but an audience that you never would have been exposed to unless you actually met that affiliate partner and they they told their audience about you, right? So don't always just go after the same type of people. If there's other industries that are, are like-minded groups of people, the internet's a big place, right? It's nice to be able to find partners in different industries where your product still kind of has overlap.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic point. And I found something so quite like we don't have a affiliate program, right, per se, but we do have a referral program, which is essentially an affiliate program.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's very informal. We don't have the same like tracking code that you would typically have with a regular referral program. But something that we've done very effectively to be able to grow the number of people referring businesses, we have people naturally referring business over to us anyway, right? The reputation has helped, and we have people that have worked with us. Maybe they recommend a friend over. Well, something that we've done is if somebody has recommended somebody over, and then that person ends up selling a business through them, we'll pay out a referral fee to that person without them even knowing that there was a referral program. Right. And so I'll contact somebody. I did this just the other day. I contacted somebody and said, "Hey, can I get your wire information? I'm going to send you $33,000. And he's like, "Holy crap. Like really? I had no idea, and he said, "I don't really need it. Or, it's not necessary. I'm just happy to refer people over." But the goodwill that creates in and of itself is worth it. And also, from my standpoint, it's the right thing to do, in my opinion, right? To reward people who are building your business. So I love the idea, again, of integrating this in. But from what you said as well, possibly hiring an affiliate manager to be able to grow that. Is that something that do you guys have an affiliate manager, or you?
We did. It's always been like a love-hate type of thing. So it's interesting, right? Because the affiliates that you work with, especially the larger ones, they want to deal with you directly. They don't want to work indirectly through the affiliate manager. So it depends, right? You have to kind of pick and choose your battles. So there's, the larger affiliates that are sending lots of traffic, have generated a lot of revenue for us. We take the time out of our day. And when I say we, I have a co-founder, we kind of divide and conquer type of deal. And so we really try to spend time nurturing those relationships. But there's the 80%, right? The ones who are still, they in an aggregate, they're actually generating a good amount of revenue, but there's a lot of them and it's hard to manage all of them. And, affiliates can be needy from time to time. And so that's when an affiliate manager can really come into play to kind of manage those 80%. So yeah, it's a love-hate type of thing. We've gone through a couple different affiliate managers, but at the end of the day, between me and my business partner, we tend to kind of really focus on those 20% and really get impact from those.
Would you say that the affiliate program has been the main driver behind your, you said you're doing more than $1 million ARR, which is fantastic. Has that been the main driver, or has there been something else along the way? It sounds like you started with the affiliates.
Yeah. So, we started with affiliates, and that's really what built our email list and really what got us on the radar. Right. So that's how we built our audience. And so once we had the traction, it was much easier for us to, when we started PayKickstart, we were like, well, we have a list of 100,000 people. Let's go and tell them about it. Let's get them onto a webinar. So we weren't able to do that and build that list unless we took the step of working with affiliate partners. We could have went a different direction and just, bought it, but we're kind of a bootstrap company. We didn't have, millions of dollars to invest into buying traffic and getting people onto our list. So that was one of the ways that we mitigated the risk, was using affiliate partners, compensating them for leads, for sales, and building our audience that way. So it was a stepping stone. I don't think we would have been as successful early on unless we went through, working with affiliates. So, nowadays, fast forward, 5 years, the affiliate piece is not as big, just because we have already kind of been more established. And we do have, the money to spend on paid media, but it's still a piece of the pie. Right. And it's not always going to be for some of you guys, it might be 80% of your traffic and revenue. For other people, it may be 10 or 20%, but I always think it's important to at least have that piece of your overall, revenue pie.
So you integrated all of these things together, and the last question I have for you, and then I know we're coming up towards the end of the time here, but Why? I mean, it's not as if these things haven't been done before. The enhanced checkout page that you talked about,
Mhm.
it can be done, right? The affiliate management, there's plenty of affiliate managing systems out there to be able to do things. The churn reduction stuff, this can be done with different integrations. Why put everything together into one system? And do you think that creates greater efficiencies for people at the end of the day?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does, and it's showing, based just off of our revenue and from the feedback that we've gotten. So, obviously, yeah, there's lots of billing solutions out there, but a lot of the billing solutions that they don't have affiliate management, and so at some point though, you have to kind of cut it off, right? You can't be great at everything, and so we decided kind of early on that we were going to be great at billing and affiliate management, and so that's really what we focused on, and so really a lot of what we've built in terms of feature wise have been just like pains that we've had or also our customers have had. And so we're like, hey, if we're going to focus on subscription based businesses, we know that there's going to be customer churn. They need to have an automated way to do it. So a lot of the features that we have added in are very strategic. And so what we've tried to do is make it kind of an all-in-one solution, but really focus in on the billing side of things and not try to be your email automation tool, not try to be a membership service, not try to be a webinar solution, but we have integrations with all of them. And that's where, we've integrated natively with over 60 applications, and we have a Zapier integration. So I think, it helps with the overall workflow, but you have to kind of pick and choose your battles as to how big do you want your application to be? How far are your tentacles going to spread? And I think, you saw like ClickFunnels, they had some issues when they were a great checkout or page builder. Then they started to try to do other things and they kind of fell short. They were kind of average at those things, and they kind of backtracked and they publicly talked about this, how they wanted to get back to their bread and butter and what they're great at, which is really their page builder. And so now they've kind of backtracked a little bit, and that's why people love them. But when they try to do some of these other things, they kind of fell short. And so that's what we've really tried to do, is be the best at billing and affiliate management.
Yeah, I know. Trying to build any sort of software product like that, like you said, when you try and grow, you have to be able to create so much ability for customization that essentially are building almost a programming environment where somebody has to spend so much time just setting it up because there's so many options, and it multiplies by a factor every time you add a new wrinkle in there. This is really cool. I hate to have people on the podcast and turn it into an advertorial for their service, but I think anyone who's built a business up to $1 million ARR as you have, and has had the experience that you have, has just all sorts of nuggets of wisdom that you've picked up along the way. That's great to share with the team. I think, talking about that checkout experience, that's super low hanging fruit. And I think from a buying standpoint or a selling standpoint, if you are in that position and you're going through, maybe you're evaluating a business that you want to acquire, it can be e-commerce, it can be subscription management like you cater towards. Taking a look at that checkout experience and saying, is this really optimized? Because there's going to be low hanging fruit there. Yeah. And from a selling standpoint, the same sort of thing. The customer retention, understanding why people are canceling, and then finally adding affiliate management. My favorite thing about affiliate management, it's completely cash flow friendly, right? You don't have to spend money to be able to figure out what works. Facebook advertising, AdWords, or any sort of PPC, you typically have to spend 2, 3, 4 months to find out what works. And you're usually spending at a loss there. So this is really good stuff. Do you anything else that you would like to just leave with people as far as like if you had one bit of wisdom that you would want to give somebody who's saying, look, I'm thinking about getting into the subscription area, so subscription management, maybe they're starting a course, maybe they have a software program, maybe they just have like premium content. And I know I'm putting you on the spot by saying one bit of wisdom. What would you give them?
Yeah, it's tough, but I always say, focus on the customer first and that experience and make it unbelievable. Because if you do that, then the rest will fall into place, right? The revenue will follow if you're focused on your customer and solving that one challenge or pain point. Don't try to solve multiple challenges, because then you kind of just be average at all of those things. So do one thing extremely well, do one thing better than anyone else does, have that unique selling proposition, and really just continue to listen to that customer. And make sure that you focus on customer churn first before you go and try to drive traffic. I see so many people is like, they feel like if they throw money at it or like, oh, it's just a traffic problem. We just need more traffic. We need more leads. But until you solve the churn problem, which at the end of the day comes back to understanding your customer and listening to your customer, you're never going to be able to scale your business, or it's just going to kind of like, trickle along. Where you see the hockey stick like growth are the ones that really focus in on the customer and that experience and listening to them.
That's fantastic. Where can people learn more or reach you if they have any questions or want to just kind of dig in a little bit? PayKickstart.com. Yep. Anything else? Any other places?
Yeah, we have a Facebook group as well. So if you just put in subscription growth hacks or put in Pay Kickstart, we have a private group you can join. There's thousands of entrepreneurs and people running subscription-based businesses in that group. So love to have you come in there. If you ever have questions or if you just want to, meet other like-minded people, that's a great place to go.
Mark, it was great having you on. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.